So welcome everyone. And today's class is on bending. So before we begin, I'm going to give you an exercise at the end for bending exercises just to make your fingers stronger, because the fingers need strength for the bending. So just like sliding, with bending, you can do it multiple ways, right? So you can bend a half step, which is 1 fret. So let's start here in A, right? I can put my finger from the 5th string to the 6th string and then bend to that note. See? And that's a half step bend. But you can also do a whole step bend, which will be bending to the 7th fret. See? And you can also do more than that. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan comes like to the top of the top of the fretboard sometimes when he's bending. You know, you can bend like 1.5 steps, 2 steps, some crazy bending, right? So if you have thicker strings, I wouldn't recommend that with like number 9 strings or too thin. They'll break. Yeah, you can bend going to different notes, so a half a step or a whole step. And the other way about bending is you can start at the note. So you can bend up to the 7th fret. So you can bend up to it first. So you can start there and come down. So, so you can start up at the bend and pick it and come down. Or you can start with picking it and come up. Okay? You can also start down, come up, come back down. So, and then pull your finger off. So there's a lot of different ways to use it, just like the slides, right? The slides, you can slide up right to the note. So 5 to 7, and you don't even hear the 5. Or you can do that from the 7 to the 5. And it's more like you just hear the slide sound in the 5. Or you can hold on the 5 and slide up, or from the 7 to the 5. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can even do it like where you hear both notes, so like that. So there's so many possibilities and so many ways to use it. I just wanted to introduce that before we do the exercise, because we're going to be doing it one way in the exercise, specifically to get you familiar with bending and to strengthen your fingers. That's the most important thing. As always, we'll be doing this with the minor pentatonic scale. So if you're not familiar with the minor pentatonic scale, go to the minor pentatonic series and do that series first so you know the patterns. Otherwise, you will be lost with what we're doing here, the patterns, because you won't know them already, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do the exercise. We're going to be bending with your 3rd finger and your pinky. Now, the minor pentatonic doesn't use your 2nd finger. So we're going to be adding that in at the end, just so we're strengthening the 2nd finger as well. Okay, it won't be actually in the scale, but we're going to do it for completeness, so you're not you don't have a weak 2nd finger, and then when you go to play 7-note frets later on, your finger will be weak. So it's better to strengthen it now. So let's start in the 1st position. Let's start up at the 5th fret. It'll be easier to play up here anyway. So this is how the exercise is going to go. I'll show you first. Okay, and that's how we're going to do the coming down. When you come back up, to use the 2nd finger, wherever your finger is, we're just going to do the same exercise with 1 and 2. Only your 1st and 2nd finger coming right up the fret that it's on. Doesn't matter, because we're just doing it to strengthen the finger. So. So that's the exercise, okay? Now you can do it just in the 1st pattern. If you know the other 5 patterns, I recommend doing it in every pattern. And remember, again, this is just an exercise to strengthen your fingers, and we might as well become more familiar with the minor pentatonic while we're doing it. So do 2 things at once, Why waste the time when we could practice 2 things at the same time? The way we're going to do this, and we're just bending a half a step for this one. You can bend more to a whole step if you want to, you can go to the next note, whatever that is, like for example, on the 6th string, the next note would be on 10, the 10th fret. So you can bend up to the 10th fret, so you're still in a minor pentatonic. But just for practice purposes, this may be very difficult at first to bend with your pinky because might not be that strong. So really take your time. Like your hands might be tired after a few patterns or after one pattern or two patterns. That's okay. So something to keep in mind is that if you're not familiar with bending, you're usually bend, especially the 6th string, you always bend down because it'll come off the fretboard if you try to push it up. The 5th string as well, I almost always bend down. The 4th string can go either way. I either bend it down or up. It has room both ways. And the 3rd string, 2nd and 1st string, I always bend up. So in other words, pushing it up, and the top string pushing it down. Now, the first part, we're going to go 5, 8, then we're going to actually hit the 8, the note on the 8th fret, but then we're going to bend. So come down, up, and then pull the finger off and put it back on and pick it. So 5, 8, then picking the string, pulling down, coming back up, and pulling off. So, and then go to the 5th string, 5, 7, and same thing. Then picking the 7th fret, pulling down, coming back up, and pulling off, and then putting the finger back on and picking it. So 4th string, same thing, 5, 7, pull down, come back up, pull your finger off, then put the 7th finger back on, the 7th fret back on, and pick it. 3rd string, 5, 7, then pick the 7th fret again, pull down, come back up, pull the 3rd finger off, and then put the 3rd finger back on the 7th fret and pick it. On the 2nd string, 5, 8, pick the 8th fret again, bend it up, come back down, pull the pinky off, and then put the pinky back on and pick it. And the 1st string, 5, 8, then pick the 8th fret, push up, come down, pull the pinky off, put the pinky back on the 8th fret and pick it. And that's it. And then when we come back down, we're going to do it with the 2nd finger. So you're just going to put your 1st finger on the 5th fret still, same place. Then put your 2nd finger on the 6th fret. Again, pick both, and then pick the 2nd finger on the 6th fret again, and then push up, come down, pull off, put it back on and pick. So like that. 5th fret, same thing, all the way up, same thing. So 1st finger, 2nd finger, bend up, come back down, pull your finger off, put the 2nd finger back on and pick. And we'll go right up the rest. And then the way I would do the rest of it is I would go right up to pattern 2. We won't go over the patterns because we already know them from the other practice. So. And then I would keep my finger right where it is and come back down, just going to the 8th fret and the 9th fret. So. And then I would move up again. So we did 1st position, 2nd position, go up to the 3rd position. And then I would stay right where I am and come back down just with the 1st and 2nd finger. First position, second position, third position, fourth position. Right where my finger is, first and second finger. So we got first position, second, third, and now fourth, and last position right here. That'll be on the 15th fret and the 17th fret. So. And then I would come right back down, same way, first and second fingers. Okay, and that's it. So that's how I would practice it. And this is meant to be just an introductory practice. So I recommend just practicing this until your calluses get a little harder, your fingers get stronger, and your hands don't get tired. Once that's the case, you can drop the exercise and then move on to playing like a solo that involves a lot of bending, right? Or something like that, something more practical, or start jamming a little bit longer, right? Take that exercise out, then go to jamming a little bit more and try to put some more bends in your jamming. Make a point to do that. So if you're if you're jamming along with the track, the backing track, and it's more like just hitting notes right now, so like, then I would start putting some bending in, so. Stuff like that. So again, remember, be patient with yourself. It's not a hurry. Don't be focused on the end result. Be focused on the small progresses that you're making and really try to enjoy it. You know, I always loved practicing, right? Even though, of course, it gets frustrating. Of course, I got frustrated, irritated, angry, like while I'm practicing, especially when I can't get something like, come on, pinch harmonics were the worst. I spent hours not getting a sound when I was trying to learn that technique. So it can be very frustrating. But the beauty of it is that, you know, there's still a desire to continue and move through that. Because when you come out of it, that's where the fun is, you know, where the joy is. So try to enjoy it as much as you can. If you get frustrated, just walk away and take time later, you know. Take time, come back, practice for 5 more minutes, and keep doing it like that. You'll notice big differences. It's kind of like working out, right? Like you may not notice a difference at first, but all of a sudden you start to see some growth, where you start to see some improvement, right? And you may not be able to recognize the little parts, but if you try to focus on that, you'll notice and you'll gradually improve. Right? And one day you'll just start putting stuff in when you're jamming. Stuff will just start coming. If you feel confused about any of this, ask me. Write questions. You know, let me know and ask me specific questions. What are you confused about? And then we can help clarify. And one important thing to not be confused is to not take on too much at once. Just start with the minor pentatonic. You know, don't try to memorize and learn all the scales and all the chords and everything first. Start learning some songs that you want to learn first, right? Start learning some solos, because that's where you get a lot of your licks. When I put the 30 days of pentatonic licks on here, go through those. That'll be 30 awesome licks that you'll have in your repertoire that you can begin to use to jam, and they'll all be in pentatonic. So you can jam on any blues backing track in that key, you know, and then you'll be able to have fun with it. You'll have some stuff to start with, and then you move on from there. All right, but remember, it's not about getting somewhere. It's not about an end point, because then there's always something else, right? It's constantly moving thing. It's constantly flowing thing. So you're constantly evolving, constantly improving, always something new to learn, always something new to do. So there's no end point, right? So don't worry about and don't get it lost in that negative talk like I'm not improving, not good, and all this junk, right? Not talented. Never say that, because there's no such thing as talent. It's just practice. It's practice and passion and joy and enjoying it, okay? So put in the time and you'll get the results. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have anything you want to learn, let me know, all right? Until next time, take care.